Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another race here in the Rwagnation League, the F2 feature and sprint race. I'm Ben Ragga McConnell, and I'm going to be taking you through this emotional roller coaster that is going to be Canada. So you can see the names on the right side. The drivers are just prepping themselves ready for the one-shot qualifying. So remember, if you have never seen this before, basically what it is a one-shot qualifying session where the drivers only get one lap to absolutely go for it and see what the fastest time is they can do. Then they will then be positioned on the grid for the start of the feature race. Both of the feature race and the sprint race are 25% races, but arguably the first one is the more important one. Now, I'm going to go on board with the legendary Kai Bacchini. This is the first time we've seen him racing here in F2s. He's a good driver in F1s. Now let's see if he can replicate that across into the F2s. Everybody's chosen the super soft tyre except for Noosa, who's decided that the softs is the right tyre, so expect him to be a little bit slower in comparison to the others. I'm wondering if that was an invalidated corner. It doesn't seem like it. Nice, coming through here into this chicane. This is quite an important one. You need to get the exit perfect. Piloto has retired from the session, so he's going to have troubles. We'll keep an eye out throughout here. There we go. That was the exit that he needed. Needs to make sure that the exit was clean, because if it's even slightly not, he will end up with a big problem. Knock their retiring as well. So now down to 9 drivers. A little bit of a mistake there. Almost sent it off towards the outside. Nearly end up in the wall with a buried wing. But he's doing alright. Still going well into the hairpin. This is arguably the most important corner on the track because it's such a long straight all the way down here. With DRS being a factor here, you can tell that it's going to be a really important area coming into the race as well, because of the slipstream and DRS you can use going into this final chicane. It's such a hard area to attack, so you need to make sure that you are at least alongside, if not ahead, when you come into here. In F2s, it's going to be even harder because you don't have the same amount of downforce as you do in the F1 cars. But Marky Mark looks like he's going to be sitting on pole today. He is, with Vanya in second, Toto in third, Kai comes across the line in fourth, and I believe, if I saw that correctly, Raven Duck is sat in 5th. Now, I don't want to say I didn't believe, but he's done it. He has. He's in 5th place. So, the rundown is Marky Mark, who did a 1:19.817. Then half a second behind is Vanya, who is in P2. Toto in P3. Kai in P4. Raven Duck in 5th with Dark Demise in 6th. Then you have the soft runner of Noosa in 7th. Then you have Nock, who didn't manage to set a time, did actually retire from the session, sadly. And then Max, Default, and Piloto all invalidated their lap. So they're going to have to start from the back of the grid. Which, on a track like this, it's not so bad. Obviously, last week we had Monaco, and it was a very difficult area to attack. Not that it stopped any of the drivers from trying, but still a very difficult area to try that nonetheless. Here, you can see there's tons of areas to attack. You've got the 2 DRS zones, you've got a Raven Duck who's left the session. That's not good. Sadly, I don't have the ability to invite him back, so he's going to have to hope and pray that someone can invite him back. Just one more driver to wait for. The sky is looking a little bit cloudy. I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. If we're going to see any rain or not is what I was more meaning to say. I was trying to work out whether or not Raven Duck's going to be able to get back in again. I know exactly what's caused it. Mother Nature. That happens quite often, actually. Especially here. Alright. Now, this is the moment. The formation lap is underway. Everyone's gone for the soft compound of tyre. And leading us away on this formation lap is going to be Marky Mark, coming through turn 1 into turn 2. I suppose it's actually turn 2 and 3 there, because you do still have that little kink on the right side when you're coming down the home straight. So technically that was turn 2. Marky Mark still leading, obviously, because... Oh, he's back. Brilliant. So we are going to see Raven Duck, but he's not going to get to race in this one because of the timing of when his game crashed. Feels sad indeed. Vanya there in P2, Toto in P3, Kai obviously chasing him down in P4. Raven Duck was 5th. He might actually be able to get back. It's saying 4-6, but I doubt it. I doubt it. We'll see. Warming their tyres up, of course, trying to get themselves all ready for a very, very difficult run. The one thing to remember is in F2 cars, the front tyres are actually thinner than the rear tyres. So it makes it a lot harder to have sort of front end grip. You are reliant on the wing doing its bit, but even then it's just... Oh, that was a mistake there from Vanya. It's still okay though, no damage, no contact with the wall. Now if I was to have a look at a top 3, it's quite tough to be honest. Vanya has been very quick. Toto can be quick, but just quite often seems to get himself into a bit of trouble. Marky Mark, I have not seen him race the F2 cars, but he's already impressed me with his pole position lap time. If he can replicate that through, then we're looking for a really exciting race. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he will. You know, anything can happen. You can have somebody try to send it down the inside and cause contact. You could have just general race issues overall. You know, if you get a bit too heavy on the accelerator, there's going to be a problem. And that in itself will be the end of their race. So, now, this is the opportunity that these drivers are going to want to see. Lights come on now, and as soon as they go out, we're going to be getting underway with the Canadian Grand Prix. And there it is. And there they go. Immediately we have a little bit of a delay, but we're all nice and tidy. We need to make sure that Marky Mark stays ahead, and that's what's happened. Vanya's just managed to sit there behind him. All the other cars further back field are having a bit of issues there. That's Default getting into a little bit of a tangle there with Dactymize. He's rotated as a result. I don't think he's got damage, but he is going to be now out of position and down into 10th place. Knock is doing well though. He's up into P6, chasing after Dactymize. Bit of understeer there means that Max is going to be on him as they come through here. Now, this is an area where Max needs to try and stay on the inside if he can get it, but nope, he just can't. Knock is going to look for it. Nowhere for him to go there. He's just going to have to sit tight and admit the fact that he's lost that position now. Mark him out. Oh, a little contact there between Knock and Noosa, but nothing too serious at all. Just a little knock, to be truthfully honest. Vanya still behind Marky Mark. Nothing's changed there. Oh, big wobble from him. And overall, the positions are pretty much remain the same. Max is the only person who's... oh, never mind. He's tied with Piloto now for the biggest winner. 3 places gained for both of them. Piloto is someone else who's actually really good here in the F2 cars. I've seen him race a few times. The yellow flag, is that Max? Oh, it's Default. Default, Knock, and Piloto are all involved in a situation. I didn't catch what happened, but I did see the aftermath, and immediately you can see just 3 drivers falling way down the order. Damage on the left side there for Default. I think Knock might have issues as well in terms of wing. Let's have a look. I think he might have front right damage. Yeah, he has. He's front right damage. Oh, maybe not actually. No, he doesn't. He's actually alright. So it's actually only Default who's got damage. I'm wondering whether... Oh, that's a big penalty. That is a big penalty. 10 seconds time for corner cutting there. And that is Tortor now up in a P2. Big contact there. That's Vanya and Dactymize. Everybody's having to cut the corner as a result of the incident. Another car come flying in. Oh, that was close. Piloto almost piled into the back of Vanya there. Vanya is actually staying alongside of him. He's still managed to defend himself. P7 is where he's going to sit for now. He's going to hold on to it unless Piloto finds a way through. Didn't see any damage on his car. No, Vanya is actually still running okay in terms of damage. It's just whether or not Piloto now is going to be able to do anything about this at all. I don't think we're going to be in that scenario. Defaults into the pits, as you can imagine. Let's see how everything else is going. Just Piloto still scrapping. Kai's up in a P2. Good stuff from him. Big braking zone here now for Piloto. Needs to try and hold it together. Make sure he doesn't lose it under the braking. Otherwise he could easily run into Vanya. And he hasn't. So now it's a situation where Vanya is trying to stay along with... Piloto trying to stay alongside Vanya. Tortor is actually really... Oh, that was almost an issue there between him and Kai. They nearly came together. Marky Mark is up now. 1:21.6 is the fastest lap time. Still holding on to P1. And he has a gap of 4.2 seconds. I mean, that has been aided by the fact that Tortor and Kai have been scrapping. But still, that gap after just 2-3 laps, well, we've started lap 3 now, it's just such a huge margin. Knock has got a 3-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Dactymize is in the pit lane as well. Default might be able to recover a place or two now then. Get himself up into P8 would be nice. Try and start his recovery drive. I think Knock... oh no, Dactymize has actually come out ahead of him. Where's Default then? He's coming around the final chicane now. He's looking for an opportunity to gain a couple of positions from these drivers having difficulties. That's Knock now down into P10. Dactymize now down into P9. But remember, this is a weird pit lane. We might actually see them scrapping. Yeah, there's Dactymize has just come across. Now, the battle is on. DRS is obviously enabled this lap. This is lap 3 now. Piloto's coming up to Vanya now. And again, this is in a crucial area because you need to make sure that you have DRS, which was back under that bridge. And you can see Piloto right here on the back of him. This is going to be an opportunity now for him to DRS slipstream right past him. I'm just keeping a very firm eye on those clouds. It's looking like it might actually start raining very shortly. But here, Vanier is going for the inside. Piloto going for the outside as they come towards the final chicane. They are going to be side by side in the result of it. And it's going to be a clean one. A slow one, but still clean. He does have DRS to help defend himself again. But now Vanier is just all over him. Is he going to look for an inside line? He's not. He's backed out. He knows this is not the battle you need to fight here. Default's managed to get past Dark Demise, but has he done it a little bit too early? We'll find out. I think Dark Demise has not got DRS. No, Default has DRS, so he's actually just going to have to slipstream him all the way down to the final chicane and just pray that he can stay alongside of him, because Default's going to have DRS as well on the home straight. He's managed to keep that together. Oh, bit of a kick out there. Default gets on the grass as well, so that's kept Dark Demise in this, in with an opportunity of attacking Default, but ultimately this is going to be a battle of their own pretty much for the entirety of the race, because Default and Dark Demise, they're 31.6 seconds behind Vanier, and he's there in P7. So ultimately, it's going to be, like I say, just their own battle for as long as they can maintain it. There's also a battle going on here for P6. This has been going on for a little while. This is Vanier and Piloto having a good old scrap. Max is coming after Toto now. He's got DRS enabled. He's going to be looking to achieve a position. He might even get a podium if he can keep this together, but Max is the full send it mode now. He's looking for it into the final chicane. There's contact between the two. Nobody gets a penalty. Nobody gets any damage, and Toto holds on to that position, and all that's really done is actually brought the gap closer between Noosa and Max. Look at the bit distance between these two. Vanier now looking for a move on Piloto. He's going to be going for the inside in towards turn 2, and he's going to about get it. Just comes across enough, but Piloto did run himself a little bit too wide anyway. So Vanier is going to hold on to that position, up in a P6 now. Toto is scrapping with Max still. He got a penalty for just exceeding track limits earlier. That was into turn 4 and 5. And he's managed to get that position back on Max. Problem is, though, he actually has DRS as well to defend with. I don't know how he managed to pull that one off, but he has, and that is big for him. Default's in the fastest lap now, 121.343. Oh, big slide there, but he's held it. But this is just going to help Max. Look, 3/10 is the gap already. Now, these cars don't have anywhere near as much. Oh, he's going around the outside. Ravenduck has left the session, but he can actually race in the next one if he stays in the session. He just misses the first race. So we'll see whether or not he returns. Max is coming up for the back of Toto. Again, this is going to be the same situation. Last lap, we saw him go for a dive down the inside. Toto's learned from it, and now Max is trying to do it again. This is going to be Max making a mistake here. Yeah, he's no way he was going to make that. That's going to give Toto a better exit. He is going to be able to run a lot faster out the corner. Although, having said that, Max appears to be running faster than Toto somehow. Toto's got the inside. This is going to be a nice little tense battle going through 2 and 3. Toto runs wide, so he's going to have to concede the position to Max. Max now on the podium, holding on to the podium. But this race is far from over. 4 laps remaining. 5 if you include the one that they're on right now. And already there was almost contact between the two, but they're keeping it clean. Max made a mistake. Toto goes into the back of him. Now we're coming up into a very difficult but very important chicane. It's a very slow one. But if Toto can get the power down just right, which he was a bit too gentle on it. Max was very aggressive on that throttle. And look at this now. The two BWT Ardens getting together. Max actually backed out to let Toto through. Max has made a mistake. That was a big mistake there, and that's actually rotated his car completely. No damage for him, but he does lose 2 additional places to go with it. So whilst he was scrapping and potentially sitting on a P3, he falls now to P7, and he's now 2.4 seconds behind Piloto. And that is a big deal, realistically, if you want to have a nice solid result at the end of this weekend. Piloto still scrapping with Vanier. Nothing is going to be changing anytime soon. I mean, he's got DRS. He's going to be slipstreaming him all the way up towards the final chicane, but ultimately he's just too far back. He's not going to be able to pull this one off. I think Dark Demise has made a mistake. He has. He's recovered. He gets a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, and that's actually caused him to lose a lot of time. Nock would have actually... Well, he's also had problems of his own as well. He's not gained anything. He just seemed to have lost control of his car, but has still, crucially, kept all of his wing. Piloto still attacking Vanier, but it's just too far back to be able to capitalize on anything. Yellow flag sector 1. That's Toto. What's happened to him? He's had a big mistake there. Rotated the car severely. Max has come back through, so actually Max has gained that position back, but ultimately he's going to stay not in the P3 position he wanted, and Kai is in a good position than where he was at the beginning. Let's have a look at the position changes. 6 places gained, for Piloto. He is the biggest winner so far. The biggest loser is sadly Toto. He's lost 4 places in comparison to where he started. 2 places for Kai, 4 places for Noosa, 3 places for Max, 2 for Default, and Nock and Dark Demise. Unfortunately, they're the ones who've lost out as well. Nock now down into P10, Dark Demise in P9, and Nock getting a 2-second time penalty. That's not going to help his cause at all. So Piloto, 6/10 back, slowly losing ground here on Vanier. Vanier is starting to pull away. The DRS is the only thing that's really helping Piloto in this sort of scenario. He needs to try and maintain that throughout. He's actually done a much better chicane there than Vanier. Again, he's going to have DRS. I don't know whether or not he's going to actually be able to... No, he's definitely not going to be able to attack here. And that sun is really trying to poke its head through. I don't think we're going to be seeing rain, but it doesn't still suggest that the drivers are going to be feeling too comfortable. The track will still be a little bit cold. And here we go. Piloto, almost into the wall there. Vanier and Piloto had a little bit of a problem. But it's still staying pretty. Sector 1 yellow flag, Sector 2 yellow flag. It's not Dark Demise, it is Nock. Nock's had an off there in that second to last chicane. And that's not caused him. Where's Kai's fallen back? Kai's lost out big style. Has he got wing damage? He's down into P5. I'm trying to get a better angle than what I keep currently getting, which is a rear view of it. And he hasn't. So he's actually in a position where he can bring it back. Vanier's now brought himself into a podium position, potentially. Noose is obviously up in a P2 as a result of this. Piloto could also battle for this, along with Kai trying to recover his mistakes he's made. He had such a solid run throughout all of this race, and he's just lost it right there on that sort of third to last lap. And Kai will be seeing red now, fired up, ready to push. Bit of an understeer there, almost loses it there as well. No damage still, remember, at least I don't think there is. We're going to see how this looks for... yeah, I've just seen what is... There you go. It's now gone. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Move along. All right, Kai chasing after Piloto. Oh, big off there, Kai. No, he's out of the race, and there's contact as well. And oh, it looked like there was contact, but it's not. It was Max who managed to just slip on by. No damage for him, but Kai is sadly out in quite tragic fashion as well. Toto getting a time penalty. 2 seconds for there. Piloto closing up on this. Trying to attempt something here. Piloto's just too far back. 9/10 is the gap between him and Vanier. There's not actually going to be much he can do about this now other than just try and manage the position he's got. He is 2.6 seconds ahead of Max, but Max is someone who's absolutely going to go for it. There's going to be no holding back at all. And I think we're in a... I think this is probably going to be the final positions. I want to go on board with Marky Mark, who has literally delivered from the start all the way to this moment now. Fastest lap in the one-shot qualifying, and he has delivered in the race as well. 9.9 seconds is the gap to the driver behind. I know that you think that might be him, but that's actually Default that is trying to catch up to Marky Mark. So he has actually been lapped. Default's obviously pitted. I think he's pit 3 times now. 2 times, sorry, 2 times. Vanier getting time penalty as well. That's not going to have helped his cause in the slightest. So look, further upfield, Piloto still trying to beat him. Not going to achieve anything at the minute. There's Nock on the outside, just getting out of the way. He's also been lapped as well. Vanier is actually in a bit of a problem. He's trying to close up to Noosa, but he's having a little bit of a wobble. This might bring Piloto into it. He's lost a fair bit of time to Piloto. He's actually lost a little bit of time to Noosa. I think he might have just kept DRS though. But look how much closer Piloto is. If he can get the exit out of here, this might be the run he needs. It's going to be a little bit too far back, I think. Yellow flag sector 3. Who's that? It's Nock. Default gets a penalty as well. Nock just gets a little bit aggressive on the accelerator, and that's caused him to rotate the car. We are going to be seeing now Marky Mark has taken the win. Noosa will cross the line and take second. Unless Vanya can do anything about it. I don't think he can. This is going to be Noosa crossing the line in second. Vanya loses a place due to penalties, and Piloto nicely snatches P3. Vanya loses another place, actually, to Max. Now, can Tortor defend and hold on to P6? I know he's got penalties of his own. Dactymize is actually, never mind, he's very far back. Tortor has stopped. For whatever reason, he has decided to stop. And there he is. So, Dactymize is going to make it to the line soon. Come on, Dactymize, you can make it, mate. If you cross the line, you're going to get some points. A bit of a weave. No penalty. There he is now. Coming up to the line, a weave of happiness. He's made it to the end. Default in a similar position. Final chicane. He has just, yeah, he's doing us all a favour here. He knows he's just going to have to try and cross. There he is. So, that's the end of the feature race. Obviously, we're going to have this sprint race coming up just in a second. And it looks like Piloto sadly lost connection. I'm going to try and get him back in. Let me see what we can do. Just trying to get him in. Bear with me just 1 second. I want to make sure that we get... Am I going to be able to invite? No, I don't think I can. No, I sadly can't. Okay, well, here is the rundown after that Grand Prix. So, it's Marky Mark who takes the win. And we go to the weekend results as well. He's obviously got the qualifying points under his name. So 29 points is where he sits at the top of the standings, with Noosa in second. Piloto third, Max fourth, Vanya fifth, Tortor in sixth, Dactymize in seventh, Default in eighth, but he also has 2 points for the fastest lap as well. Alright, Max is going to be trying to invite Amkasa. We are going to sadly lose Piloto as a result. He couldn't make it back in time, and obviously his game crashed, I think, was more the problem. But we are now in the sprint race. We do have 3 drivers left to go, and they're going to be thinking about their race strategy. Obviously, again, it's a 25% race. I think it's around about 6 laps here in this one, and I believe I have a co-commentator.
Hello!
How are you?
I'm not too shabby.
Good.
I just need to be streaming. Okay. I'll just hear myself back. That was confusing.
Well, I mean,
what is that?
You've got a very beautiful voice. So, guys and girls, for those of you who don't know who this is the one and only Amkasa, as you can imagine. He's a great commentator, commentates for me on a regular basis, and we're going to be doing, for the first time actually, this is the first time me and you have commentated F2, I believe.
I think it is. I tried to join the race once, but I couldn't get the invite. I didn't want to join the second part of the race. But yeah, I mean, my commentating's finished already. Finished quite quickly, actually, which is good. Which means I'm free!
Freedom!
Woo!
Woo! Right, okay, so, obviously, I think we've actually had a driver that's somehow back on the start grid. Who is it? No, we don't.
No one. Kai's an AI, though.
I think Kai's brought himself back in again now, though. So, I don't know if you caught much of the first race. Did you see anything?
I caught the end of it whilst flicking through messages.
So, Kai had a really tragic accident.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was
somehow
pretty...
Max survived.
Yeah, I have no idea how he did it, but he did. Okay, so the thing to think about is how I actually have information on their damage as well now. I've managed to set it up so I can get the information from the drivers about like the damage, the tires, etc., etc., which is going to be great. obviously the temperatures are going to be the main thing here. The one person who's going to be easier getting those temperatures up is going to be Dark Demise. He's currently sat P2. And remember, we do have reverse grid order for the majority. I'm just trying to see. Marky Mark was the one... Go on.
Do they have to pit?
No, they don't.
So Dynamite is in a good position starting on Super.
He is. That's the problem. So Supers really disintegrate pretty hard on this track anyway. And I think that's ultimately going to be what the main problem is entirely dependent on how they can manage it. But lights are on now. We're going to be getting underway. Look at that sunlight come out as this race gets started. And away we go. It's Default leading the battle now up in towards turn 2 effectively, because that little kink there is turn 1. He is going to stay ahead, but we're going to be seeing Toto trying to get involved in this situation as well. Lots of issues going on. That's Nock running a little bit wide there. Comes back in again on Kai. Kai is now slipping down the inside of Noosa. We're seeing battles going on up at the front as Toto's managed to slip by Dark Demise, who you'd have thought would have been in a better position given the fact he's on softer tyres, but he just isn't.
Yeah, Nox had a terrible start. He's well off the pace. He's just going through the first proper chicane, and this is all over the back of Kai. There's movement. Max is making moves up on Vanier into the next chicane, and then go on this little straight, DRS straight. Once it gets activated, Max is on the back of Vanier. He's going to look to try and make a move here, and this is the type of thing we expect to see from Max, a dive from nowhere. And he's playing it safe at the moment. Little potential corner cut. Marky Mark is up the back of Dynamite. He might fancy a move down into the hairpin. Again, great overtaking opportunity. If he's close enough, he's looking, he's not going. But Max is going, and big contact. That's Marky Mark being spun. Big contact there. That's Vanier, Marky Mark, and Max. Definite damage on Marky Mark. I don't know if there's damage on anyone else, but Marky Mark definitely picks up a bit of a flying damage there. And that's not a good way to start your first lap.
It isn't. I think that was all started from Max, just getting a little bit aggressive on Vanier, went onto the inside of him, hit the back end of Vanier. Vanier then lost control of his car and went spearing off into the side of Marky Mark. Not really anything Vanier or... he's going again, looking round the outside, and that doesn't surprise me. That's happened. Max trying to get round, he just turned in a bit too hard into Vanier. Weirdly, I don't think I've ever actually seen someone go around the outside, turn in a bit too hard, and he has just straight up left the session. That is a very angry Max, but he is now going to finish P9 at best. Dark Demise up there in P3, and there's a little scrap going on for P5.
Yeah, Max doing Max things there, taking dives from out of left field. And there's a little scrap up. Dark Demise 0.6 off the back of Tortor. At the moment, he is on those super softs, and it's not working for him. Tortor does a bit of a corner cut there. Wondering if that's going to help him stay a bit ahead of Dark Demise, as Max, the AI, is actually close to Nock at the back.
Yep, he is. Nock might actually be able to gain this position from him. Max having problems, but we're going to be seeing if there's a scrap going on here for P5. We don't have DRS yet. We are at the end of this lap. We're going to be seeing it activated, but we won't be seeing it until we get to the center of the track again. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Toto is P2, like we said. He's chasing after Default. Default has had a pretty rough race in the first one. He got the fastest lap points in the last one. So that does help him in his... and he's currently got it. Oh, never mind, Toto just snatched it from him. But yeah, it does sort of help Default in his sort of climb back up again. I'm pretty sure it's impossible now for him to get it. Oh, that's Nock retiring from the session. I'm trying to work out... that was in the Wall of Champions.
I suspect you're right, yeah. He's around Sector 3, and that is the hairpin and the whole way to the start-finish line. So, Vanier is on the back of Marky Mark. I think these guys have a little bit of damage as well. I think you might be able to confirm the damage situation.
It shows 0, but I can see that they definitely do.
Vanier
The one thing I can see is Vanier's left front is getting seriously hot. That tyre, when he goes through the right-handers, it just gets ridiculously hot.
That's because there's no end plate.
That's true.
No front left end plate.
It also suggests, though, that there's a very good chance of him understeering into someone as a result of it. I mean, he needs to keep an eye on that problem. And interestingly, I'm seeing the brakes. The front tyres are actually... the front brake ducts are actually glowing, and the rear are not. It suggests that the bias has been put more to the front onto these cars, but here he is, Vanier sizing up Marky Mark now, looking for a move into the chicane. This is going to be a tense one. This is very tight indeed, but they've both done it. Vanier's the one who actually gets the penalty. He's just kind of backed out at the right time, but he kind of put himself in a bit of a predicament. Default and Toto still close as ever, and they are going to be scrapping.
Switch Oh, that's not a lovely switch. That is a big crash. That's Marky Mark in the wall. And that was all caused by Nuso had a switch, but then just got it all wrong. Dartamites is going very slow as he had an issue.
He's got no end plate on the right side, which would suggest that he does have an issue. I can't see anything. Oh, he's having issues in the braking. That's Nuso having to dodge him just for a split second there, but he now has a chance to get him on this DRS straight. Wing open. Off he goes. Dactymize, I think he feels a little bit bad for that one. He moved over just to sort of, I wouldn't necessarily say let him through, but open up the opportunity for a battle, and Noosa is through. Now we need to go up to the front of the drivers because Tortor is on the back of default. We've got yellow flag. That's Dactymize.
He's retired on track.
Out.
Retired on track.
Okay.
I was on board with him when it happened.
Well, disaster averted. We're down to 6 drivers, and we have Tortor hunting down default. Oh, he's had an issue there through that chicane. He just could not keep his car pointed in the right direction. But overall, it's looking pretty solid, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's right there on the back of default now. You can smell the oil coming off that car. As Vanny, a 3-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not going to be good news for him. The only thing that's going to come to his advantage is that Max isn't actually in the race, so he'll be discounted. But, it's also nearly sliding coming off turn 4. And now he's got all to do. We're on 5 of 7. He's only got a few opportunities left. Is he saving it all up for a last lap lunge into the chicane?
I think so. I think there's no way that he doesn't try something here. Vanny's gone into the pits, chucked on some super soft, so he's purely going now for the fastest lap and the fact that he would gain realistically on Max. Although we're not keeping tabs on that, so he might actually not still gain it. He might still lose out to Max. Right, this moment here, that's the exit that Tortor needed. He has got to the back of default and is hold on to it for quite a good time now. 2.5 tenths is the gap. In F1 standards, you're practically overtaken him at this standard, but in F2, this is a whole different ball game because they are so much slower in comparison. This is going to be a turn to for Tortor. He needs to try and find a way to keep his car collected. He's just about got it, and Default is right there alongside of him. Tortor gets into race lead, and Default is trying to come back at him.
I thought we were going to see Default in the wall there. He's going to send one down the inside, though. He's through. A little bit of a nudge through. And here comes Tortor. Is he going to get the drive to come off? The answer to that is no. And this is actually working out quite well for the man behind him, actually. As these guys keep scrapping, they may end up tangling. And Kai may end up taking a race win. He's only 1.6 off pace. A little kiss to the wall, though, is not going to help him. But he's close. If these guys have a little issue, Kai can take the win. We are 1 and a bit laps, 1.5 laps left of this race.
Yep, indeed. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. If any of these drivers ahead make a mistake, Kai will pounce. He's not the kind of driver to sit back and watch and wait for this to happen. He will absolutely pounce. We might see a collision as a result of it, but we need to wait and see what he can do. Remember, he's only 12 years old as this guy, and he's absolutely super quick for his age, and I want to see what he can deliver as he grows up a bit more. Tortor, though, had a terrible exit. That's Default, obviously ahead again from earlier on in, I think it was turn 3, he managed to successfully bring the position back. I don't know what else Tortor can do now.
He's got to find an extra gear and not get a penalty like that. That's going to work well for Kai. Kai needs to just control it. He's a little bit scrappy down at the hairpin. That cost him over half a second, and he's dropping back time now. As they are going side by side, Tortor's trying to go round. Is he looking for the switch back on? Default. He's looking. He ain't finding. Default still has the race lead. We've got 2 DRS straights, 2.5 DRS straights left of this race. Can Tortor? Oh! That's nearly curtains for him.
I mean, that's not the first time we've seen him do that, have we, really? He's drifted through some corners. He's held it, don't get me wrong. He's doing it again. That's another DRS zone. This is Kai's opportunity now. Look, 6 tenths is the gap between him and Tortor. It's coming down slowly but surely, and Kai will be having that P2 very much locked in his sights. I don't think Kai has penalties, so he's going to get the P2 anyway, but the question is, does Kai know that? It's not something that just gets very publicly displayed to you unless you ask your Jeff. And he's going to be so focused, that's going to be one of the last things he does check. Default made a little bit of a mistake there through the exit. This is it now. This is the final push to the straight line, to the start line, sorry. And you're going to be seeing Default leading this charge. Kai's closing in on him. Toto might make another mistake and Kai might actually physically get past him on the track. But ultimately, Default, from the beginning, has held on. It's been a tough one, nonetheless.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet. It is over now.
There it is. Default takes the win. Kai comes across the line and takes P2. And Tortor finishes the podium there in P3. It is just so close.
76 thousandths of a second. 700th and a bit. That is ridiculously close. Kai so nearly had that. That's why I had to tell you to stop. Because that could have changed so easily at that point.
Yeah.
But great racing from those two. Tortor having plenty of penalties. And Kai actually got the fastest lap. Unless Van Aert can nick it. Where is Van Aert?
He's currently coming through the chicane now. He might actually get it. He is looking fast. It's going to be close. He's
got it.
The fastest lap.
Yep.
Well played to him for that one, then. Yeah,
Kai,
I mean,
great race.
It's a shame that he had such a bad finish in the first one because he was very fast anyway. He was actually sat on the podium for the first race. And then he had a big mistake, he lost it, and that was it. That was the end of his race. Then he didn't let it affect him, comes into the second race and absolutely smashes it to bring home a very solid P2. Now, let's have a look at the driver rundown after the whole weekend. So, Marky Mark, even though he did retire at the end of that, partway through that second race, he does still finish on top by 4 points. And that is literally the difference in qualifying. If he hadn't have got that pole position in qualifying, that would have been tied there with Noosa, who's P2, 26 points. Default in third with 21, Max in fourth with 18, tied with Tortor for fourth. Vania is there in 6th with 16 points, and Kai, after such a dominant display in the second round, gets 13 points, and Dark Demise gets 8, while Nock finishes in 9th with 2 points. Well, that is it for the F2 races. It's going to be a little break now whilst we get prepared for the F1 races, and for the meantime, you can listen to some very beautiful music, and we'll see you guys shortly.
Stop.